Hello YouTube, it's Alec here with the Yu-Gi-Oh! Underground, once again coming up with original content in favor of having other YouTubers do my work for me.
Like me.
You may remember this is Dave from WhoNeedsMeta here, and that's Nick, the victim of vicious lion attack.
That's Nick, victim of round
Inside
4.
joke.
Fuck it. I beat Hat round 4, Nick, this guy. Alright, wanna go right into it?
Alright, let's go right into it. How does Madolche work this format? Nobody on our team plays it.
3 Angeli, cards retarded good. I'm so happy they made it because like I got all this stuff super cheap and then this card came out and I was like, yes! This deck's actually worth something now. Triple Stratos, normal or flip summon. Everyone always forgets when you flip summon you search 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah, normal or flip summon, search. 3.
It's like Spellbook Magician but with attack.
Yeah. 3 Mewtwo. I side one out every once in a while. If I side more than I think 6, I sided, or if I side 5 or 6, I usually side 1 out, but 3's still pretty good because I took out Instant Fusion, so I wanted the 3 because I wanted the combo to go well. 3 Message Gelato. My best skill with this deck is drawing this card in multiples. No, this card sucks on its own, but it's really needed for the combos because, like, you can go through 3 in a turn, like searches wise. Especially Palooza, you can search this card, like, get so many searches in 1 turn off of it. It's retarded good. And a few Messenger Gelato search isn't bad, and DNA Surgery Messenger Gelato isn't bad either. So everything's a beast or everything's a fairy. 3 Hoot Cake, pretty standard, and that's it for the Madolche monsters. Yes, these are that good. It's the format. Format calls for you to be able to set up and then set little things so you don't want to summon into a Tarantula or something like that and not have anything to pop. So it's like, you just kind of like poke around with hands. It's stupid. I set hands with established boards so many times today.
Why not?
Well, that's monster.
It's a good board. It's a good board with hand on it.
Yeah, and the last 2 maxis. For spells, I don't play a lot of spells at all. Double Chateau, double Ticket. I like double. A lot of people cut tickets down to 1. I feel like it's really important to get your searches going, and it gets popped a lot with like Molotech and stuff like that. So getting searches off a lot is really good, and then being able to recycle and being able to play Chateau over Chateau when you don't want to like. When you want to search one out and you want to target in your graveyard, I think I did it like 3 or 4 times today. I played Chateau over Chateau just to like have a target in my graveyard. Book, and then there's really good dodging like Veilers and like random breakthrough skills on Feeder Chains. And then I only play 1 MST because I don't know, I wanted to play 2, but like Ice Hands were better, and I don't like play Spell Striker Wolf or anything. Like, I don't play Spell Striker, so I don't need a high spell count. And I took out Dark Hole out of the main deck to sideboard it. 1 Palooza, I tried 2, and I found it to be not very good because I wanted to play more defensive stuff. So 2 Palooza, or 1 Palooza over 2, and then double Wiretap for, you know, more back row hate. I always want at least 4 cards. The MST was just kind of nice to have for like 1 like random main deck skill drains and stuff like that. But like I have 2 Ice Hands and I have 2 Wiretaps, and occasionally your Ice Hands don't have targets when they get set because people have played around them. Wiretap's good. Double Wing Blast. I like Wing Blast. I was playing Divine Wrath. I was on MCole 40's channel and I hyped up Divine Wrath. And unfortunately, I can't play enough discard cards to keep playing Divine Wrath because the card is so good, but it's not, you know, this is just to set your opponent back a turn with Hat. This is just better to put the hand back on the top of their deck to keep going and then make them draw it again. It sets them back a turn. 1 Compulse. You can bounce your own stuff for ticket searches if you really need to if the card's not that good again game 1. 1 Bottomless. Really good against Fire Hand. Really good against Bear. Trench Roll. Clear the board. Put stuff in your own graveyard. 2 of Alex's favorite card, Double Deep Prison.
Why would you play garbage? So, interview question, why would you play garbage?
Why would I play garbage? Okay, so, hypothetical situation.
Like, is it just that you can't get over it? Is it hands? Because hands is the only argument I accept.
If my opponent summons a hand, well, I de-prisoned an Accelerator today, and he had targets in his graveyard, and he would have been perfectly set up if he would have added that back. And I was able to get over it. I de-prisoned 2 Ice Hands and a Fire Hand today as well. The fact that hands are in everything is retarded, including this deck, so you kind of have to play it. The thing is, you always, like, you go Angeli, Hoot Cake, Banish, Search Messenger Gelato, Special, add something. So you have a monster that's big enough and a Chateau So that either way, they're going to crash one of them, and they have something they're going to hit every time. Every time.
I still think it's trash, but
double breakthrough skill. This actually, this
fight
won
to
me,
the end.
yeah, this won me a game today because I got Exciton Knighted, and I banished this in my graveyard during my turn so I could swing over it. Because otherwise you just blow my shit up.
I feel like that happens a lot. Like,
Yeah.
There's not much against a lot of decks. There's not always use for that banish
Honestly,
effect.
Exciton Knight is the bane of this deck's existence, so I kind of had to do something about being able to get rid of it twice. So, I mean, like, Gear Gear kind of sucks to play against. I lost to Gear Gear and beat Gear Gear today, and then won Solemn Warning because it's generic goodness against everything. Extra deck, fun fact, I never made Invoker today, but you obviously play Invoker if you play Madolche, so one Invoker, even though I never made it. Double Levier. Levier's obviously insanely good in this deck. And you go Mifu, Angeli, and then you do the play, and then you just add the Mifu and the Angeli back to your hand with the Chateau on board, and then you just do it again next turn with the second Levier, if you need to. Zen mains. Alucard. I actually made Alucard more than I thought I would. Normally I never make it, but today I made it a lot. I don't know. It's just getting rid of set cards that I didn't like. 2 queen, 3's too many, 1's not enough. Chateau puts him back. One Exciton, Blow Fields. I have made it, and every time I take it out, I feel like I don't make it. I don't play Honor Arc.
That was bad. You gave it a try button.
I don't play Honor Arc because Queen is just a better card than Honor Arc. My rank 4 engine is what will I make when I don't want to make Queen. So that's kind of where I had it. Diamond Direwolf. I made this a few times today to get rid of like armors and like when I knew I could make Queen that turn and I wanted to get rid of one more back row, and plus I have like dead like Mufuse on the field, so I could just tribute off those. Dweller, Artifacts.
I love this next one.
Magnus Zero. This card wins the mirror match so easily. Hands down, just like wrecks the mirror match. So today, I ran into the Watchdog. I attacked it. It changed to attack. It gained attack. I made this, popped it, and then next turn he summoned Arsenal, and then I tributed popped that off too with this because it gains 200 attack from itself. So Cowboy, I won 1 game off of it today. Heartland, because you always have a face-up spell. Always in games. Crazy Box for skill drain and just being like a 3k beater, and then 1 Downer Magician to put over your Leviers and Invokers when you're like about to lose, like you're like 500 lives, like all I gotta do is like summon anything and beat over my Levier. So I just put this on board, and you can even put it in defense if you're that worried about taking life. Side deck, these are kind of subpar, but I'd feel weird without having them. Double Veiler. I decided 1 in originally against Gear Gear, then I decided not to the second time I played it because I wanted to decide in other stuff. I changed my mind about seeing his deck again, so. Double DD Crow. Wouldn't work against Dark Wolf today. He had to go through his graphics really quickly, and I was able to get rid of all 3 of them. Crow. 3rd Chateau for the Field Spell War. Against like Gravekeepers and Harpies and stuff like that, you always have be able to play your Field Spell over their Field Spell. Dark Hole. Because I don't main it. 2nd and 3rd space for stuff that's like side against you. If you know they're gonna side Kaiser, side in the MST. If you know they're side Skill Drain, if you know they're side Macro, you know. 1 Blackhorn. Again, 2. I couldn't obviously play without it, so double Divine Wrath because it's that awesome. It stops Veiler and C, Crow, Scarecrow, Trag, all the hand stuff that you just don't want to deal with because if you want to go for game, if you want to be able to push for game, and it stops stuff on the field as well. And Engrave, this does stop hands as well. I just felt that Wing Blast was a more versatile card and I didn't want to have too many discards in the main deck. I try not to have more than 3, so all you do, if I side in both of these, I side in 1 Wing Blast. Double DNA Surgery. I was contemplating cutting it and I ended up siding it in today and it ended up doing work because you can call Fairy, and every time you get a ticket search, you can special because everything's a fairy. And then every time you special summon Messenger Lotto, regardless of what's on the field, if you call Beast, you get searches because you can Palooza 1 Messenger Lotto and get a search because it's still a Beast. So you can control itself, you can get a free search. And then double Trap Stun for going for game against high trap decks like Hat and Gear Deal when they play like 17, 18 traps to be able to get all those off the board and go for game.
Alright, so here's my key question, and I ask you this as someone who's obviously played this deck for long before Angeli has come out, because a lot of people who have just picked it up with Angeli don't really know the answer to this question, but when you're like building the deck, how do you decide like how offensive versus like how defensive, like how control versus how explosion you want to go with your like trap lineup in your main board? Because you have like Alexander Thomas who plays like 28 traps, and then
I initially thought that deck was bad. I still don't like his deck. I don't like that build at top for like a long time ago, but it's just my opinion. He played like anti-meta, so it is what it is, because he knew he was going into an event that played like lots of traps, so he knew what his back row lineup was going to be. His main decking side deck cards. Obviously playing pudding cess, I don't really care for pudding cess. Even with Angeli, where the monster can't be destroyed and you can just ram the pudding cess into stuff.
I mean, like when you like sit down to like build this deck, like what goes through your mind when you're putting together?
I sit down and I go, well, how many what cards are being played a lot of? Like, obviously the hands are huge. Counter those, Wing Blast, Deep Prison, got it. And then I think, all right, how many traps are other people playing? Okay, so everybody's playing like at least 12, 13, unless you're playing with like Heretical Rulers or Mythic Rulers. It's like, okay. So you take out like stuff like MST, which is like not really good for the whole blind space thing, because like if you're blind spacing into 3, 4, 5, you're not hitting what you want. So that's the idea behind the wiretaps in the main, and then the ice hands, because ice hands can pick out stuff, but it's still keeping the advantage rather than just going like for a blind 1-for-1 with MST. So that's kind of like the idea behind those cards. The trap lineup, I feel, the monster lineup with Angeli was more self-sufficient than beforehand, to where you can constantly search stuff and you don't need to play stuff like Spell Striker, like Warwolf. You don't need as many hand traps. Hand traps are also bad because, like last time, you almost had to play these because you had to play Veilers, because like what else are you gonna play besides like Triple Maxi? And Triple Maxi was like trash last format because like Fire Fist, like okay, it's good against, you know. It was good against like Fire Fist or whatever, but like Maxi is terrible against that deck, and then Veiler was good against Fire Fist, but not that good against Mermels or, you know, Heretic Rulers. So you had like all these awful matchups. Like when I first built the deck during the Dragon's Bubble format, I was playing 2 Seed, 2 Veiler, 2 Scarecrow, because you needed like food in your graveyard for Hoot Cake. Now Angeli does it for you, and you have stuff like Wing Blast to get like Dead Mess and Gelatos out of your hand that don't really do anything. So that's the idea behind giving yourself the Hoot Cake food, so you can play more traps because the monsters do it for you. Your stuff is searchable now. Like you have searchable like outs to it. Like Mifu and Angeli are searchable, where Spell Striker was only searchable under Rhoda, and that was it. And you had to have a spell.
So I guess for the final question for the Madolche fans, does this deck change before Nationals, or is this how the deck looks going into Detroit and what?
I honest to God don't know what I'm going to be taking to Detroit. I was out of town last week and my friend played the deck. I let him, I was like, all right, play this deck for me, tell me how it does. So we were going to test the hands in the main board, because I saw them come out. When they came out, I initially picked them up for gadgets. Like, I bought all 4 hands for $15, because no one wanted them when they first came out. And I picked him up, and then I was like, all right, play him in the main deck, try it out. He went 4-1, and he hasn't played Madolche in forever. So I was like, okay, so the deck's obviously pretty good. So I picked it up and did pretty well today, obviously. We split top 4. And I was like, all right, so the deck, you know, does well. So I feel like maybe if anything changes, it's going to be what traps I play. Like, there's going to be like no monster lineup changes probably, because I have to play at least some hand traps. So Maxis I'll probably keep in there over Veilers, because Veilers is just awkward. And the hands definitely earned their place. Like they earned a spot in the main board because they were that good. He was like hands MVP, and he wasn't bullshitting. So.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Rate, guys. Rate, comment, subscribe. Go check out WhoNeedsMeta channel if you haven't, because I don't shout them out enough. But on the off chance that you haven't, go check out WhoNeedsMeta channel. A lot of great content, DN videos, insight on other decks, and that I'm out. Don't play Deep Prison, even though he says so.
Play Deep